Unlocking your potential. Why focus trumps everything else? We often get stuck blaming finances, the economy, our education, or even our age for our lack of success. But the real culprit is often far simpler and far more insidious. A weak focus and a limited imagination. Think about it. How many brilliant ideas have you abandoned due to fear or self-doubt? You may have great aspirations, but you're staying put. The reason isn't external. It's not the economy, politics, or a lack of opportunities. It's your inability to concentrate, to truly hone in on what matters. This silent killer quietly dismantles dreams. You start with gusto, brimming with determination, but distractions, notifications, daily minutiae, outside opinions, the fear of failure pull you off course. You don't even notice until another year has passed and nothing has changed. Years of studying human behavior revealed a stark truth. Successful people aren't necessarily smarter or luckier. They're masters of focus, relentlessly pursuing their goals until they become reality. Exceptional lives aren't built on talent or chance. They're built on unwavering concentration. It's about learning to say no to distractions and yes to what truly matters, a mental muscle that needs constant training. Most people react, flitting from task to task, dream to dream, achieving nothing of substance. I remember guiding a group, reviewing their pre-submitted questions. A pattern emerged. They were all stuck at the same invisible barrier. They knew what they wanted, they had the knowledge, but couldn't break through. A life-changing realization hit me. Our only limitations are weak attention and a dearth of imagination. Ever felt that way? You know you're capable of more, feel something inside, yearning to break free, but something holds you back. Your attention is scattered, your energy dissipated. Without focused energy, there's no progress. I worked with professional golfer Ted Purdy, known for his elegant swing. He wanted to cultivate willpower to maintain focus amidst distractions. My advice, simple but demanding. Discipline. I marked a small dot on the wall. I had him sit as far away as possible while still seeing it, then focus solely on the dot. When his mind wandered, he gently redirected it back, without frustration, without struggle, just a quiet return. We did the same with a candle flame. Complete concentration, merging with the light. Daily practice, just a few minutes morning and night, transforms your mind in 3 months. You'll hold your attention on a project, a goal, a mental image until it manifests. Focus becomes the conduit for creation. Notice how successful entrepreneurs, artists, and leaders have a clear, unwavering vision. They didn't inherit it. They cultivated it. Trained their attention, learned to filter the noise, and ignored obstacles. Like Napoleon Bonaparte, who famously said, "Focus on the objective and let the circumstances dissipate." How many times have you started something and quit when a problem arose? Blamed bad timing, the wrong people, or lack of resources? What if it was simply misdirected attention sabotaging your efforts? No matter how challenging your circumstances, focused attention, even for a few minutes a day, changes everything. Attention is how your imagination manifests physically. Without it, you only dream. With it, you create. Neuroscience proves that mindfulness significantly boosts decision-making, stress management, and performance under pressure. What you focus on expands. What you ignore fades. Most focus on problems, debts, fear, past failures, and they grow. The few who intensely focus on what they desire bend reality to their will, and they triumph. Focus is a choice. You can let the world dictate your thoughts or take control. Choose. Look at the dot. Return. Repeat. Daily. Success becomes not a possibility, but a consequence. You aren't trapped by circumstances, lack of funds, a degree, or connections. You're trapped by your self-image, a hidden picture only you see. Your self-image frames your reality. You won't surpass what you believe you are, achieve what you believe you don't deserve. For years, I lived this way, accepting any job, factory work, gas station attendant, anything. That was my self-worth. No vision, no future. And worse, I thought it was normal. Most people live in a prison of limiting beliefs, seeing themselves as small, fragile, insufficient, reaping the same results. The external world reflects what you accept as true. Ever said, "I'm bad with money, things never work out for me, I can't escape this"? These aren't just thoughts, they're bricks reinforcing your self-built prison. Repeating them strengthens an image of failure, scarcity, and limitation. While that image remains, nothing truly changes. Self-image is an internal thermostat. Even a temporary rise, a good month, a promotion, reverts to your normal. You subconsciously sabotage yourself until you return to what you believe is your reality. This kept me poor and lost. I tried new things, read books, but nothing worked because I didn't see myself as capable of prosperity. My self-image didn't align with success. This happens to many, people with extraordinary potential living far below their capabilities because they see themselves as small. Robin Williams, a brilliant artist who brought joy to millions, carried a devastated internal self-image. He didn't see himself as enough. This hidden image prevailed. External success means nothing if your internal image is in ruins. But this image isn't permanent. It's built, and what's built can be rebuilt. Start cultivating a new self-image. Stop defining yourself by the past. Your history isn't your destiny. See yourself as worthy, prosperous, confident, capable. Do this through repetition, writing, reading, visualizing, affirming. It's like building muscle. It takes training. Write daily, "I am a valuable, powerful, prosperous, capable person." Read it aloud. Imagine living this new version. See yourself driving that car, living in that house, working in that office, smiling, leading, respected, triumphant. When your mind says, "That's a lie," keep going. Resistance is part of the process, your old self-image fighting for survival, but it will yield. I'm proof. I rose from the bottom, without formal education or planning, building a life I once only dared to dream of. It began when I stopped accepting the old, imposed image and started seeing myself as someone capable of success. You can do the same. Are you willing to rebuild your self-image day after day until it becomes unshakable? Internal change precedes external change. Everything around you was first created in someone's mind. The world is built, brick by brick, idea by idea, by the power of human imagination. Yet, most ignore this power, deeming imagination a childish fantasy. But it's the most powerful creative tool. Napoleon Hill said, "Imagination is the most miraculous and inconceivably powerful force the world has ever known. It's in your mind you create freely, without limits, censorship, or approval. You may be indebted, unemployed, lacking prospects, but nothing stops you from imagining wealth, freedom, joy, security. See yourself living better, working with what you love, living peacefully. Sustain this image daily with clarity, emotion, and detail, and it begins to materialize. It's not magic, it's a law. Your brain doesn't differentiate between intensely visualized images and physical reality. Neuroscience shows that imagination activates the same brain areas as real experience. When you imagine vividly with emotional engagement, you're programming your mind to make it real. The problem is most people have mediocre imaginations, not by birth, but atrophy. They use it to predict tragedies, failures, humiliations, and guess what? It becomes their daily reality. You use your imagination constantly. The problem is mostly against yourself. Everything I've achieved was first imagined in detail. My home, travels, work, all created internally before manifesting physically. At first I had nothing, no knowledge, resources or support, but a clear mental picture of what I wanted. I saw myself driving a nice car, closing deals, helping people, living abundantly. I wrote it, read it daily, emotionally engaging with the vision. There were days when belief was hard, reality screamed otherwise, but I persisted until the image became not a desire, but a conviction. If you want to change your life, the first step isn't working harder or studying more. It's imagining more, better, bolder. Imagine what you truly desire, not what you think is possible. Ignore logic, ignore the what-ifs. When the Wright brothers imagined heavier-than-air flight, people called it madness. When Ed Hillary looked at Everest summit, they said it was impossible. They succeeded because they imagined before proving. Stop imagining the worst and consciously create what you want. Write it down in detail. What does your ideal life look like? Where do you live? With whom? What do you do when you wake up? How much do you earn? How do you feel? Describe it with color, emotion, rich detail. Use the present tense. I am, I have, I live. It starts now. Don't write it once and forget. Reread, rewrite, visualize daily. Make it a ritual. The image becomes part of you. When that happens, the world aligns with your internal reality. People will notice, they'll ask what's changed, and you might not know, but you'll feel it. You'll act from certainty and abundance, not fear and scarcity. You're made in the image of something grand, carrying an inexhaustible wellspring of creation. What are you waiting for? The life you desire already exists within your imagination. Live that image so intensely that the universe has no choice but to make it real. Believe you have limitations, that something in you or your history prevents you from going further. Belief limits you. Your limits aren't real. They're manufactured ideas accepted as truths, conventions you repeat. The more you repeat, the truer they seem. I believed my life was destined for mediocrity. I dropped out of school, had no qualifications, and little money vanished quickly. I saw only failure, believing it was my limit. Then someone gave me Think and Grow Rich. It said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It was like a light in the darkness. The problem wasn't outside, it was inside. In the stories I told myself, many want to change but maintain the internal structure that got them there. They want different results but won't question their beliefs. Without that, nothing changes. Science proves the human brain creates limiting mental models based on past experiences, especially painful ones. It's a protective mechanism, but this protection becomes an invisible prison. You don't see the bars, only feel unable to move forward. How often have you thought of starting a business, asking for a raise, moving, following a dream, only to hear, that's not for me, I don't have what it takes, or what if it fails? That's not intuition. It's old programming based on fear, scarcity, and survival. While you listen to this voice as absolute truth, you'll live below your potential. The mind lies. Your job isn't to fight it, but reprogram it. If it was programmed with limitations, it can be reprogrammed with possibilities. The most powerful exercise, consciously writing a new identity. I wrote daily, I am so happy and grateful now that, and completed it with the future I wanted. In the present tense, with detail, emotion, and truth, it forced me out of the old identity, pulling me into a new mental state, making me act like someone already living that reality. Action without identity is guaranteed sabotage. Trying to change while seeing yourself as small, incapable, or unlucky means one step forward, two back. I've seen this with thousands. They try to change with willpower, but carry the certainty of inadequacy, and that certainty always wins. When you sustain an identity of power, even if it seems like fantasy, everything changes. External reality responds to internal conviction. With no experience, resume, or degree, I opened a cleaning company. I saw it becoming big, closing deals, leading teams, expanding. In less than a year, it grossed over $100,000, a significant amount then, and even more so now. All from zero, ignoring the world's rules. Your limits aren't truths, they're unconscious choices reinforced daily. Challenge those thoughts. When that old voice says, "That's not for me," ask, "Who says?" When it says, "What if I fail?" ask, "What if I succeed?" When you think, "I can't," ask, "How can I?" Change the focus, the question, the energy. You weren't trapped. You were hypnotized by a story that's no longer yours. Now you're awake. Two choices: return to the old narrative or start building a new one, where the impossible isn't an obstacle, but the next chapter of your victory. Life's biggest trap isn't failure, it's the almost. Almost succeeded, almost got it right, almost lived the life you wanted. This silent trap is procrastination disguised as busyness. Many believe they don't achieve because of lack of time, energy, or resources. They're trapped in a cycle of motion without progress, always doing something but rarely what matters. Easy to be busy all day yet feel stuck? Because most react to messages, obligations, interruptions, confusing action with direction. They move without purpose, expending energy without building what they truly desire. Before achieving anything, I spent days solving things, thinking busyness meant progress. Let's be honest, we've all been there. We get paralyzed by fear of failure, of falling short, of not being good enough, and end up burying ourselves in busy work, endless to-do lists, and superficial commitments, anything to avoid facing the real issues. We procrastinate on the things that truly matter, losing ourselves in insignificant details, spinning our wheels instead of actually moving forward. And that lost time, it's not just wasted, it's literally stolen from the life you want to live. Every moment spent on the trivial is a moment subtracted from your freedom, your success, your fulfillment. The harsh reality is that most people die with unrealized dreams, unfinished projects, not for lack of talent, but for lack of the guts to just do it. Think about Steve Jobs. He understood this better than most. He lived with a sense of urgency, not frantic rush, but a profound awareness of time's fleeting nature. Procrastination is often a mask for fear of judgment, fear of inadequacy. But let me tell you, nothing is more paralyzing than waiting for the perfect moment, a moment that doesn't exist. The only way to break free is to make a radical choice. Act even if you don't have all the answers. Act imperfectly. Act with what you have. Because what separates you from your aspirations isn't a flawless plan, it's persistent action. Try this. Each day, choose just one uncomfortable task you've been putting off. A phone call, sending a proposal, starting that class, having that difficult conversation, and do it before anything else. It's transformative. It shows you day by day that you can overcome your own resistance. You weren't born to merely survive, you were born to create. And the time you spend waiting to begin is time lost forever. You don't need more time, you need more grit. You don't need to be perfectly ready, you need to be engaged. You don't need to know how it ends, you just need to begin. If you've truly grasped this, stop reading and do what matters. Even if you're scared, even if there are no guarantees, because that's precisely when success starts to bloom. The key takeaway: you're not limited by circumstances, but by your own beliefs and mindset. When you change internally, the external world transforms as a consequence, not a coincidence. If this resonated with you, then keep going. The next video is waiting, taking you one step closer to the life you know, deep down, you deserve. Strive to be just a little better than you were today. Thanks for being here. See you in the next video.